We're living in a free country, Joe.
A Trump-supporting conservative has now surrendered after a 5-hour-long ordeal with Capitol Police over a bomb threat in downtown Washington, D.C. And during this entire ordeal, the man was live streaming on Facebook on and off, and I'll show you a couple of those clips in a second. First, let me show you what this looked like. Here he was on the Capitol sidewalk here in front of the Library of Congress in his black pickup truck. And I guess this person just happened to walk by while this was all going on. He ended up calling the cops on himself to try and get the attention, and that's when he began live streaming, and I'll show you some of that in a bit. But first here, more details from BuzzFeed News. At approximately 9:15 a.m., U.S. Capitol Police responded to a disturbance call outside the Library of Congress, where a man in a black pickup truck with no license plates was making bomb threats, U.S. CP Chief Thomas Manger told reporters. In the live streams, the man demanded that President Joe Biden and other prominent Democrat politicians step down, accusing them of killing America. He identified himself as a Southerner and called on other patriots and Southerners to join him on Capitol Hill to begin a revolution. Clearly, that plan did not work out. Now, in terms of his comments here about accusing Democrats of killing America, I'm going to get to something in a second here, where apparently on his Facebook, he discussed issues with his health care. So I'll get to that in a second. First, I want to show you a couple of these clips that were able to be captured before Facebook took down his page.
If you blow my truck up, man, hey, it's on you, Joe. I'm ready to die for the cause. And brother, if you said if you could do anything to save one life, you said you'd do it. Well, you got a chance. I want to go home Sunday. I want to go home and see my wife. We're living in a free country, Joe. Choice yours. If you want to shoot me and take the chance of blowing up 2.5 city blocks, because that toolbox full. Ammonium nitrate, it's full. I don't want to die, Joe. I want to go home. I'm telling you, my windows pop, this bomb's gonna go. It's made for decimals. Your military experts that you let get their legs blowed off are the ones that built this. And if you don't think it's real gunpowder in there, boss man, there's gunpowder in there. And this is some of the strongest shit you can get. And it's full. We got 2.5 pound of tannerite. Go ahead and get them on the building. But I'm telling you, Biden, if these windows pop, this bomb goes. And there's 5 of them here.
All right, so my impression of these videos is that this guy is really lost in his own head. He's directing all of his comments to Joe Biden. You see him there mention Joe several times. I think he says Biden once. He is directing all these comments to Joe Biden, thinking that he can get Joe Biden to step down by having this bomb threat and saying there, you know, Joe, you could save one life, meaning his own life, as in if Biden steps down, then I won't, go through with this. Clearly, I don't know. This is what decades of propaganda does. And you're going to see, this is a guy that ultimately, if he has issues with his health care, as I'll get to, then he should really be on the progressive left. He should be supporting people like AOC and Ilhan Omar. But that is obviously not the case. So let me show you some of his Facebook likes here. This was shared by Emily G. He, Citizens for Tobacco Rights, White Lives Matter, Defense of Freedom, U.S. Patriot News. I'm sure most of these here are right-wing pages. Also, marijuana. Nothing against that. As I told you many times, marijuana is a bipartisan issue. The vast majority of Americans support marijuana legalization, so no issue there. But Donald J. Trump, or Trump Jr., and Donald J. Trump and Fox News, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, a guy of many interests. But this is where we get to A little more here. So from Emily G saying, Facebook posts include a regular array of right-wing proto-white nationalist talking points, including anger at transgender people being allowed into the military, black on black and black on white crime, anti-masking, anti-democratic party sentiment. You notice a lot of here, it's all about the cultural issues. You know, this is what the right uses, Republicans use as a distraction mechanism to distract away from the fact that Republicans don't care at all about healthcare, don't care at all about actually helping people, about raising wages. Their economic policy is ultra conservative, always propping up the corporations and the wealthy. But here he is, deeply engaged in just the cultural distractions that Republicans put out. But this is where we get to the interesting part. So Emily G shares here Facebook posts on how his now deleted profile from May of this year show him talking about how he's a dead man walking. One of his streams, he talked about healthcare getting cut off. If this is the case, then you should be supporting Bernie Sanders, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, you know, the Justice Democrats that are actually fighting for universal healthcare. But here's a guy who's a Trump supporter. Trump did nothing in terms of healthcare. He claimed way back in 2015, before he became president, that everyone's covered under my healthcare plan. This is what Trump claimed. Of course, he was lying the entire time, as he did with everything. But this is a guy who should have recognized over 4 years of Trump that, hey, my healthcare still isn't covered. But instead, now he's angry at Joe Biden and Democrats, who I guess, you know, yes, they don't support Medicare for all, but I don't think that's his ultimate issue here. This is a guy who's deeply, surrounded in right-wing culture that is all about hating people because they're transgender or because they're, you know, not like you in some way. And you could see that from his comments about, or a post that he apparently had about transgender issues, and he has likes the White Lives Matter page. So this is a guy who's deeply ingrained in conservative culture and doesn't seem to be all that informed around the actual policies like Medicare for all that would actually benefit him and who supports that, as there isn't a single Republican that supports Medicare for all. But there are many Democrats that do support Medicare for all. Now, last thing here, as I said, he surrendered. There's not much to this video. It's just, you know, he's on the ground being arrested. So there you go. Quite the ordeal. I'm sure, you know, I don't know, maybe the Capitol riot played into this in the sense that it gave him the idea to take this fight to D.C. Again, this is all speculation on my part, but I'm actually kind of surprised this kind of thing doesn't happen more often, considering just how hate-filled right-wing conservative rhetoric is. You know, if you watch someone like Tucker Carlson every night, it's not shocking that people are going to be radicalized. So, and that's just what's allowed on television, let alone what this guy reads on Facebook. So, yeah, I'm sure all of that led to the state this man is in, and I'm guessing we'll hear a little more from this the more we, the further this goes on, and we'll hear what happened to this guy and why he did what he did.